What? This is an audio recording of the 613 obligations for all Jews. Why? So that we can fulfill and so that we can help others to fulfill our obligations to our Creator properly. How? By reviewing this recording daily to help us to memorize and to review our obligations to our Creator. The 613 obligations for all Jews. From the book of Bereshis. Obligation number 1. Do be fruitful and multiply. Source, Bereshis 1:28. Punishment, very great. 2. Do circumcise. Source, Bereshis 17:10 and Vayikra 12:3. Punishment, kores, over self. Number 3. Don't eat the sinew of the thigh vein. Source, Bereshis 32:33. Punishment, flogging. From the book of Shmos. Number 4. Do sanctify the months. Source, Shmos 12:2. Punishment, very great. Number 5. Do slay a sheep or a goat for the Pesach offering on the 14th of Nisan. Source, Shmos 12:6. Punishment, kores. Number 6. Do eat the flesh of the Pesach offering on the eve of the 15th of Nisan. Source, Shmos 12:8. Punishment, base din, coerces. Number 7. Don't eat the flesh of the Pesach offering raw or cooked, only roasted. Source, Shmos 12:9. Punishment, flogging. Number 8. Don't leave any of the flesh of the Pesach offering overnight. Source, Shmos 12:10. Punishment, violates negative precept, but no flogging. Number 9. Do remove all leavened bread, chometz, from your house on the 14th of Nisan. Source, Shmos 12:15. Punishment, positive precept. Number 10. Do eat unleavened bread, matzah, on the eve of the 15th of Nisan. Source, Shmos 12:18. Punishment, positive precept, based in coerces. 11. Don't have leavened bread, chometz, in your possession during all the days of Passover. Source, Shmos 12:19. Punishment, flogging. 12. Don't eat anything containing leavened bread, chometz, during Pesach. Source, Shmos 12:20. Punishment, flogging, but not kores, ? 13. Don't give anything of the Pesach offering to an apostate Jew. Source, Shmos 12:43. Punishment, violates negative precept, but no flogging. 14. Don't give anything of the Pesach offering to a partial proselyte or resident. Source, Shmos 12:45. Punishment, violates negative precept, but no flogging. 15. Don't carry any of the flesh of the Pesach offering outside. Source, Shmos 12:46. Punishment, flogging. 16. Don't break any of the bones of the Pesach offering. Source, Shmos 12:46. Punishment, flogging. 17. Don't uncircumcised person eat of the Pesach offering. Source, Shmos 12:48. Punishment, flogging. 18. Do sanctify all firstborn males. Source, Shmos 13:2. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 19. Don't eat leavened bread, chometz, during Pesach. Source, Shmos 13:3. Punishment, kores, plus, not sure. 20. Don't let leavened bread, chometz, be seen during Pesach. Source, Shmos 13:7. Punishment, flogging. 21. Do tell the Exodus to your children. Source, Shmos 13:8. Punishment, positive precept. 22. Do redeem all firstborn male donkeys. Source, Shmos 13:13. Punishment, positive precept. 23. Do break the neck of an unredeemed firstborn male donkey. Source, Shmos 13:13. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 24. Don't go beyond limits on Shabbos. Source, Shmos 16:29. Punishment, flogging. 25. Do know that God exists. Source, Shmos 22. Punishment, no portion in the world to come. 26. Don't believe in other gods. Source, Shmos 23. Punishment, death by stoning. 27. Don't make images to be worshipped. Source, Shmos 24. Punishment, flogging. 28. Don't prostrate yourself in idol worship. Source, Shmos 25. Punishment, kores. 29. Don't worship idols. Source, Shmos 25. Punishment, death by stoning. 30. Don't swear by God's name in vain. Source, Shmos 27, punishment, flogging. 31, do remember the Shabbos. Source, Shmos 28, punishment, positive precept. 32, don't work on Shabbos. Source, Shmos 20:10, punishment, death by stoning. 33, do honor your father and your mother. Source, Shmos 20:12, punishment, positive precept, very great, coerced. 34, don't kill any innocent person. Source, Shmos 20:13, punishment, slain by sword, death by decapitation. 35, don't commit adultery. Source, Shmos 20:13, punishment, death by strangulation, plus. 36, don't steal, kidnap. Source, Shmos 20:13, punishment, death by strangulation. 37, don't bear false witness. Source, Shmos 20:13, punishment, intended harm, flogging. 38, don't covet your neighbor's house. Source, Shmos 20:13, punishment, no flogging, God will punish. 39, don't make human figures. Source, Shmos 20:20, punishment, no flogging. 40, don't build an altar out of hewn stones. Source, Shmos 20:22, punishment, flogging. 41, don't stride by steps to the altar. Source, Shmos 20:23, punishment, flogging. 42, do fulfill all of the laws of a Jewish slave. Source, Shmos 21:2, punishment, positive precept. 43, do marry a Jewish maidservant or let her be redeemed. Source, Shmos 21:8, punishment, no coercion. Reward, blessing and good sons. 44, do help a Jewish maidservant be redeemed. Source, Shmos 21:8, punishment, positive precept, like number 43, unsure. 45, buyer, don't sell a Jewish maidservant. Source, Shmos 21:8, punishment, unsure, like number 43, unsure. 46, don't leave a Jewish maidservant short of her rights. Source, Shmos 21:9, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 47, court, do execute by strangulation. Source, Shmos 21:12, punishment, positive precept, great. 48, son, don't strike your father or your mother. Source, Shmos 21:15, punishment, death by strangulation. 49, court, do penalize with fines. Source, Shmos 21:18, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 50, court, do execute by decapitation. Source, Shmos 21:20, punishment, positive precept, great. 51, court, do judge the case of a damaging ox. Source, Shmos 21:28, punishment, pay. 52, don't eat the flesh of an ox, sentenced to stoning. Source, Shmos 21:28, punishment, flogging. 53, court, do judge cases of damage by a pit. Source, Shmos 21:33, punishment, positive precept. 54, court, do impose proper payment on a thief. Source, Shmos 21:37, punishment, positive precept. 55, court, do judge cases of damage by a domestic animal. Source, Shmos 22:4, punishment, positive precept. 56, court, do judge cases of damage by fire. Source, Shmos 22:5, punishment, positive precept. 57, court, do judge cases of an unpaid guardian. Source, Shmos 22:6, punishment, positive precept. 58, court, do judge between a plaintiff and a defendant. Source, Shmos 22:8, punishment, positive precept, great. 59, court, do judge cases of a paid guardian. Source, Shmos 22:9, punishment, positive precept. 60, court, do judge cases of a borrower. Source, Shmos 22:13, punishment, positive precept. 61, court, do judge cases of a seducer. Source, Shmos 22:15, punishment, positive precept. 62, court, don't let a sorceress live. Source, Shmos 22:17, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, and positive precept. 63, don't oppress a convert even with words. Source, Shmos 22:20, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 64, don't wrong a convert in monetary matters. Source, Shmos 22:20, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 65, don't afflict a widow or an orphan. Source, Shmos 22:21, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. God will punish, measure for measure. 66. Do lend money to a poor man. Source, Shmos 22:24, Devarim 15:8. Punishment, positive precept, abhorred. Reward, blessed. 67. Don't demand payment of a loan at a bad time. Source, Shmos 22:24. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. God will call him to account. 68. Don't assist one in transacting a loan with interest. Source, Shmos 22:24. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 69. Don't curse judges. Source, Shmos 22:27. Punishment, negative precept, flogging twice. 70. Don't curse God's name. Source, Shmos 22:27. Punishment, kores, unsure, death by stoning. 71. Don't curse rulers of our people. Source, Shmos 22:27. Punishment, flogging 3 to 4 times. 72. Don't separate dues from produce in an improper order. Source, Shmos 22:28. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 73. Don't eat the flesh of an animal torn by beasts, equals treifa. Source, Shmos 22:30. Punishment, flogging. 74. Judge, don't hear a litigant in court if his opponent is absent. Source, Shmos 23:1. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 75. Don't accept the testimony of a sinful man. Source, Shmos 23:1. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 76. Judge, don't follow a majority in a capital case. Source, Shmos 23:2. Punishment, very great. 77. Judge, don't argue for innocence and then for guilt. Source, Shmos 23:2. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 78. Do follow a majority in all Torah laws. Source, Shmos 23:2. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 79. Judge, don't take pity on a poor man in judgment. Source, Shmos 23:3. Vayikra 19:15. Punishment, negative precept, unsure, but no flogging. 80. Do unload the burden of another. Source, Shmos 23:5. Punishment, positive precept, viewed as ugly, receives no compassion. 81. Don't pervert justice for a wicked sinner. Source, Shmos 23:6. Punishment, unsure, negative precept, but no flogging. 82. Beis din, don't decide a capital case on probability. Source, Shmos 23:7. Punishment, negative precept, unsure, but no flogging. Very great. 83. Judge, don't take bribes. Source, Shmos 23:8. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 84. Do leave the land to lie fallow in the 7th year, equals Shemitah. Source, Shmos 23:11. Punishment, positive precept. 85. Do rest on the Shabbos. Source, Shmos 23:12. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 86. Don't swear by idols or idol worshippers. Source, Shmos 23:13. Punishment, flogging. 87. Don't lead Israelites astray to idol worship. Source, Shmos 23:13. Punishment, death by stoning. 88. Do go up to the Beis HaMikdash on the 3 pilgrimage festivals, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, with an offering. Unsure. Source, Shmos 23:14 and 15. Unsure. Punishment, positive, unsure, and negative precept. 89. Don't ritually slaughter the Pesach offering with chumetz in our possession. Source, Shmos 12:15. Unsure. 23:18. Punishment, flogging. 90. Don't let the emerim, fat of the Pesach offering, remain overnight until morning. Source, Shmos 23:18, 34:25. Punishment, negative precept, unsure, but no flogging. Number 91. Do bring bikurim, first fruits, to the Beis HaMikdash and give it to the Kohen. Source, Shmos 23:19, Devarim 8:8. Punishment, positive precept. 92. Don't cook meat in milk. Source, Shmos 23:19. Punishment, flogging. 93. Don't make treaties with the 7 nations, Hittites, Amorites, Girgashites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Source, Shmos 23:32. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 94. Don't let idol worshippers dwell in Israel. Source, Shmos 23:33. Punishment, negative precept, unsure, but no flogging. 95. Do build the Beis HaMikdash. Source, Shmos 25:8. punishment, positive precept. 96, don't remove the ark's carrying poles. Source, Shmos 25:15, punishment, negative precept, unsure. 97, do place the showbread and frankincense continually in the Beis HaMikdash. Source, Shmos 25:30, Vayikra 24:7, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 98, Kohanim, do kindle the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash. Source, Shmos 27:21, punishment, positive precept. 99, Kohanim, do wear special garments when serving in the Beis HaMikdash. Source, Shmos 28:4, punishment, death by heaven's hands. 100, don't let the Kohen Gadol's breastplate come loose from the ephod. Source, Shmos 28:28, punishment, flogging. 101, don't tear the Kohen Gadol's me'il. Source, Shmos 28:32, punishment, flogging. 102, Kohanim, do eat the flesh of sin and guilt offerings. Source, Shmos 29:33, punishment, positive and further punishment. 103, Kohanim, do burn incense twice daily. Source, Shmos 37, punishment, positive. 104, don't offer anything on the golden altar other than the daily incense. Source, Shmos 39, punishment, flogging. 105, Israelites aged 20 and up do give half a shekel each year to the Kohanim. Source, Shmos 30:13, punishment, positive, very great. 106, Kohanim, do wash hands and feet when entering the Hechel and performing divine service. Source, Shmos 30:19-20, punishment, death by heaven's hands, service equals unacceptable. 107, do prepare the anointing oil to anoint each Kohen Gadol and some kings. Source, Shmos 30:25, 30:21, Vayikra 21:10, punishment, positive precept. 108, don't anoint any outsiders with Moshe's oil. Source, Shmos 30:32-33, punishment, kores. 109, don't reproduce the anointing oil according to the scriptural formula. Source, Shmos 30:32, punishment, kores. 110, don't make incense according to the Torah's formula to inhale. Source, Shmos 30:37, unsure to 38, punishment, kores. 111, don't eat or drink anything offered to an idol. Source, Shmos 34:12-15, punishment, flogging. 112, do let the land lie fallow, equals Shemitah. Source, Shmos 34:21, 23:11, Vayikra 25:5, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 113, don't eat meat and milk that were cooked together. Source, Shmos 34:21, punishment, flogging. 114, judges, court based in, don't execute on Shabbos. Source, Shmos 35:3, punishment, death by stoning. From the book of Vayikra, number 115, Kohanim, do process the Olah burnt offering according to its law. Source, Vayikra 1:3, punishment, positive precept. 116, Kohanim, do perform the work of a mincha meal offering. Source, Vayikra 2:1, punishment, positive precept. 117, Kohanim, don't offer leaven, yeast, or honey on the altar. Source, Vayikra 2:11, punishment, flogging. 118, Kohanim, don't offer any animal sacrifice or meal offering without salt. Source, Vayikra 2:13, punishment, flogging. 119, Kohanim, do use salt on all animal sacrifices and meal offerings. Source, Vayikra 2:13, punishment, positive and negative, equals flogging, unsure. 120, Great Sanhedrin, do bring an offering if you erred. Source, Vayikra 4:13, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 121, anyone who unintentionally, inadvertently transgresses one of the great sins, do bring a chatos, sin offering. Source, Vayikra 4:27, punishment is a positive precept. 122, do testify, bear witness to all that you know. Source, Vayikra 5:1, punishment, positive precept, very great. 123, do bring an offering of greater or lesser value for certain sins. Source, Vayikra 5:1, punishment, positive precept. 124, Kohanim and men, don't separate the head of a bird brought as a chatos, sin offering. Source, Vayikra 5:8, punishment, flogging. 125, Kohanim, don't put olive oil into an unintentional sinner's mincha meal offering. Source, Vayikra 5:11, punishment, flogging. 126, Kohanim, don't put frankincense into an unintentional sinner's meal offering. Source, Vayikra 5:11. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 127, do add a fifth of the value in paying for hallowed food that was eaten. Source, Vayikra 5:15-16. Punishment, flogging, and pay the principal. 128, do bring a doubtful guilt offering, Asham Tolui, if in doubt of a great sin. Source, Vayikra 5:17-18. Punishment, positive precept. 129, do bring a definite, certain guilt offering, Asham Vadai. Source, Vayikra 5:20-21, 23-25. Punishment, unsure, sin wouldn't be atoned. 130, do return property seized in robbery. Source, Vayikra 5:23. Punishment, positive precept. Robbery equals a negative precept. Woe to him. 131, Kohanim, do lift off the ashes from the altar every day, equals Trumas Hadeshin. Source, Vayikra 6:3-4. Punishment, positive precept. 132, Kohanim, do burn fire on the altar every day. Source, Vayikra 6:6. Punishment, positive precept. 133, don't put out any fire burning on the altar. Source, Vayikra 6:6. Punishment, flogging. 134, Kohanim, do eat the remainder of meal offerings. Source, Vayikra 6:9. Shmos 6:11, unsure. Punishment, positive precept. 135, don't make the remainder of meal offerings become leavened. Source, Vayikra 6:10-11. Punishment, flogging. 136, Kohen Gadol, do bring a mincha meal offering twice every day. Source, Vayikra 6:13. Punishment, positive precept. 137, don't eat the mincha meal offering of a Kohen. Source, Vayikra 6:16. Punishment, flogging. 138, Kohanim, do sacrifice a chatos sin offering according to the Torah. Source, Vayikra 6:18. Punishment, positive precept. 139, Kohanim and all men, don't eat any of the chatos sin offering whose blood is sprinkled within. Source, Vayikra 6:23. Punishment, flogging. 140, Kohanim, do sacrifice, perform the task of the Asham guilt offering according to the Torah. Source, Vayikra 7:1. Punishment, positive precept. 141, Kohanim, do sacrifice, perform the task of a shlemim peace offering according to the Torah. Source, Vayikra 3:1, 7:1-2. Punishment, positive precept, and the offering equals disqualified and unacceptable. 142, don't let the flesh of a Todah thanksgiving offering be left over until the morning. Source, Vayikra 7:15. Punishment, unsure. 143, Kohanim, do burn nothar, the meat of holy offerings that remains after the allotted time for eating it has passed. Source, Vayikra 7:17-18, 19:7, 22:30. Punishment, positive precept and negative precept, but no flogging. 144, don't eat pigul, vile meat, an offering about which the attending Kohen entertained a disqualifying thought. Source, Vayikra 7:18. Punishment, kores. 145, don't eat the flesh of defiled holy offerings. Source, Vayikra 7:19. Punishment, flogging. 146, do burn holy sacrifices that became disqualified. Source, Vayikra 7:19. Punishment, positive precept. 147, don't eat chalev, forbidden animal fat of a pure permissible animal, ox, sheep, or goat. Source, Vayikra 7:23. Punishment, flogging. 148, don't eat the blood of any beast, domestic or wild animal or fowl. Source, Vayikra 7:26. Punishment, kores. 149, Kohanim, don't enter the Beis HaMikdash with overgrown hair. Source, Vayikra 10:6, 21:10. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 150, Kohanim, don't enter the Beis HaMikdash with torn clothing. Source, Vayikra 10:6, 21:10. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 151, Kohanim, don't leave the Beis HaMikdash during your sacred service. Source, Vayikra 10:7, 21:12. Punishment, flogging. 152, Kohanim and judges, unsure, don't enter the sanctuary or render rulings after drinking wine. Source, Vayikra 10:9. Punishment, death by heaven's hands, flogging. 153, Do examine the signs of kashrus on all domestic and wild animals. Source, Vayikra 11, 2-3, 20, 25, 11, 47. Punishment, positive precept. 154. Don't eat non-kosher domestic and wild animals. Source, Vayikra 11, 4-7. Punishment, flogging. 155. Do examine the signs of kashrus on fish. Source, Vayikra 11:9. Punishment, positive precept. 156. Don't eat non-kosher fish. Source, Vayikra 11:11. Punishment, flogging. 157. Don't eat non-kosher fowl. Source, Vayikra 11:13. Punishment, flogging. 158. Do examine the signs of kashrus on locusts, grasshoppers. Source, Vayikra 11:21. Punishment, positive precept. 159. Do observe the laws of ritual uncleanness of 8 low crawling creatures. Source, Vayikra 11:29. Punishment, must immerse. Can't touch sacred objects. Positive precept, unsure. 160. Do observe the laws of ritual uncleanness of solid and liquid food. Source, Vayikra 11:34. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 161. Do observe the laws of ritual uncleanness of animal carcasses. Source, Vayikra 11:39. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 162. Don't eat creatures that swarm on the earth. Source, Vayikra 11:41. Punishment, flogging. 163. Don't eat any species of tiny swarming creatures that are engendered on plants and fruit. Source, Vayikra 11:42. Punishment, flogging. 164. Don't eat any creatures that swarm in the water. Source, Vayikra 11:43. Punishment, flogging. 165. Don't eat any swarming creatures that are generated by decay. Source, Vayikra 11:44. Punishment, flogging. 166. Do declare a woman who gives birth ritually unclean. Source, Vayikra 12:2 and 5. Punishment, positive and negative precept, chores. 167. Ritually unclean person, don't eat the meat of holy sacrifices. Source, Vayikra 12:4. Punishment, chores. 168. Woman who gave birth, do bring an offering. Source, Vayikra 12:6. Punishment, positive precept, forbidden to eat of holy offerings. Woe. 169. Do declare a Matzorah unclean. Source, Vayikra 13:2. Punishment, positive precept, permanent affliction, or God heals, unsure. 170. Don't shave the hair of a nethic. Alopecia. Source, Vayikra 13:33. Punishment, flogging. 171. One with tzara'as, do rend your clothes and follow the rules of the Torah. Source, Vayikra 13:45. Punishment, positive precept. 172. Do deal with afflictions, tzara'as, in clothes, according to the Torah. Source, Vayikra 13:47. Punishment, positive precept. 173. Do purify one who has a tzara'as infection, according to the Torah. Source, Vayikra 14:2. Punishment, positive precept. 174. A man with tzara'as, do shave all your hair. Source, Vayikra 14:9. Punishment, positive precept, still would be ritually unclean. 175. Do immerse in a mikveh. Source, Vayikra 14:9. Punishment, positive precept, guilt. 176. Metzorah. Do bring an offering when you are healed. Source, Vayikra 14:10. Punishment, positive precept. 177. Do declare a house with tzara'as ritually unclean. Source, Vayikra 14:35. Punishment, positive precept. 178. Man with gonorrheal discharge. Do follow the laws of the Torah. Source, Vayikra 15:2-3. Punishment, positive precept, and chores, unsure. 179. Man with gonorrheal discharge, do bring an offering when you are healed. Source, Vayikra 15:13-14. Punishment, positive precept, lack in atonement, woe. 180. Man who discharges semen, do follow the laws of the Torah. Source, Vayikra 15:16. Punishment, no need for immersion today, yet good, blessing. 181. Woman with menses, do follow the laws of the Torah. Source, Vayikra 15:19. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 182. Woman who discharges, do follow the laws of the Torah. Source, Vayikra 15:25. Punishment, positive, chores, negative precept. 183, woman who discharges, do bring an offering when you recover. Source, Vayikra 15:28 through 29. Punishment, positive precept, remains lacking in atonement. 184, Kohanim, don't enter the inner sanctuary except at an instance of temple service. Source, Vayikra 16:2. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 185, Kohen Gadol, do carry out the temple service on Yom Kippur. Source, Vayikra 16:3. Punishment, unsure. 186, don't slay holy offerings outside the sanctuary forecourt. Source, Vayikra 17:3 through 4. Punishment, Kores. 187, do cover the blood after the ritual slaying of a wild animal or fowl. Source, Vayikra 17:13. Punishment, positive precept. 188, don't have pleasure with any woman who is ranked an erva. Source, Vayikra 18:6. Punishment, flogging. 189, don't be intimate with your father. Source, Vayikra 18:7. Punishment, death by stoning. 190, don't be intimate with your mother. Source, Vayikra 18:7. Punishment, Kores, death by stoning. 191, don't be intimate with your father's wife. Source, Vayikra 18:8. Punishment, Kores, death by stoning. 192, don't be intimate with your sister. Source, Vayikra 18:9. Punishment, Kores. 193, don't be intimate with your son's daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:10. Punishment, death by burning. 194, don't be intimate with your daughter's daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:10. Punishment, death by burning, unsure. 195, don't be intimate with your daughter. Source, Vayikra, unsure, 18:10 equals logic. Punishment, death by burning, unsure. 196, don't be intimate with your sister on your father's side, who is your father's wife's daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:11. Punishment, Kores. 197, don't be intimate with your father's sister. Source, Vayikra 18:12. Punishment, Kores. 198, don't be intimate with your mother's sister. Source, Vayikra 18:13. Punishment, Kores. 199, don't be intimate with your father's brother. Source, Vayikra 18:14. Punishment, death by stoning, Kores. 200, don't be intimate with your father's brother's wife. Source, Vayikra 18:14. Punishment, death by strangulation, Kores. 201, don't be intimate with your son's wife. Source, Vayikra 18:15. Punishment, death by stoning, Kores. 202, don't be intimate with your brother's wife. Source, Vayikra 18:16. Punishment, Kores, death by strangulation. 203, don't be intimate with both a woman and her daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:17. Punishment, death by burning, Kores. 204, don't be intimate with both a woman and her son's daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:17. Punishment, death by burning, Kores. 205, don't be intimate with both a woman and her daughter's daughter. Source, Vayikra 18:17. Punishment, death by burning, Kores. 206, don't be intimate with two sisters while both are alive. Source, Vayikra 18:18. Punishment, Kores. 207, don't be intimate with a woman when she is ritually unclean from the menses. Source, Vayikra 18:19. Punishment, Kores, produces a child of inferior rank. 208, don't give any of our children to the idol Molech. Source, Vayikra 18:21. Punishment, negative precept, death by stoning, Kores. 209, don't be intimate with a male. Source, Vayikra 18:22. Punishment, death by stoning, Kores. 210, don't be intimate with an animal. Source, Vayikra 18:23. Punishment, death by stoning, Kores. 211, women, don't be intimate with an animal. Source, Vayikra 18:23. Punishment, death by stoning, Kores. 212, do fear your mother and your father. Source, Vayikra 19:3. Punishment, positive precept, can be renounced by father. 213, don't turn to idol worship in thought or speech, or even by looking. Source, Vayikra 19:4. Punishment, flogging. 214, don't make an idol for yourself or for anyone else. Source, Vayikra 19:4. Punishment, flogging. 215, don't eat nothar, the leftover meat of holy sacrifices. Source, Shmos 29:34, Vayikra 7:18, 19:6 through 8. Punishment, Kores. 216, do leave an edge of your field unreaped for the poor. Source, unsure, Vayikra 19:10. Punishment, positive precept and give, negative precept, flogging. 2:17, don't reap the very last end of your field. Source, Vayikra 19:9. Punishment, negative precept and give, unsure. 2:18, do leave gleanings of your harvest for the poor. Source, Vayikra 19:10. Punishment, positive precept and give, negative precept, flogging. 2:19, don't gather stalks of grain that fell away during your harvest. Source, Vayikra 19:9. Punishment, negative precept and give, unsure. 2:20, do leave a part of your vineyard unreaped for the poor. Source, Vayikra 19:10. Punishment, positive precept and give, negative precept, flogging, unsure. 2:21, don't remove all the fruit of a vineyard. Source, Vayikra 19:10, Devarim 24:20 through 21. Punishment, negative precept and give, unsure. 2:22, do leave fallen grapes in a vineyard for the poor. Source, Vayikra 19:10. Punishment, positive precept and give, negative precept, flogging, unsure. 2:23, don't gather fallen grapes in a vineyard. Source, Vayikra 19:10. Punishment, negative precept and give, unsure. 2:24, don't steal anything of value. Source, Vayikra 19:11. Punishment, negative precept, pay back double, 4 times, 5 times. 2:25, don't deny it when something of value that belongs to another is in our possession. Source, Vayikra 19:11, 5:22. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 2:26, don't swear over a false denial about something of value. Source, Vayikra 19:11. Punishment, flogging. 2:27, don't swear falsely. Source, Vayikra 19:12, 5:4. Punishment, flogging. 2:28, don't withhold another person's property wrongly. Source, Vayikra 19:13. Punishment, negative precept, return property, pacify fellow, repent. 2:29, don't rob, take by force. Source, Vayikra 19:13. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging, restore. 2:30, don't delay the wages of a hired worker. Source, Vayikra 19:13. Punishment, positive precept and negative precept but no flogging, pay. 2:31, don't curse any Jew, whether man or woman. Source, Vayikra 19:14. Shmos 22:27. Punishment, flogging. 2:32, don't make someone stumble through misleading advice. Source, Vayikra 19:14. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 2:33, judge, don't do any injustice at a trial. Source, Vayikra 19:15. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. Overturned is his ruling. 2:34, judge, don't honor an eminent person at a trial. Source, Vayikra 19:15. Punishment, negative precept and positive precept, unsure. 2:35, judge, do judge with righteousness. Source, Vayikra 19:15. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 2:36, don't gossip, slanderously talebear. Source, Vayikra 19:16. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. Beware of many agents of flogging. Informer equals death. 2:37, don't refrain from saving the life of an Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:16. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 2:38, don't hate a fellow Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:17. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 2:39, do rebuke a fellow Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:17. Punishment, positive precept, wicked. 2:40, don't shame any Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:17. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. Beware of agents of flogging. 2:41, don't take revenge against an Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:18. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. His wickedness is great, as he is the cause of great misfortune. 2:42, don't bear a grudge against a fellow Jew, Israelite, ? Source, Vayikra 19:18. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. His wickedness is great, as he is the cause of great misfortune. 2:43, do love every Israelite. Source, Vayikra 19:18. Punishment, positive precept and any obligation incurred according to the way he harmed him. 244, don't mate two different species of animal together. Source, Vayikra 19:19, punishment flogging. 245, don't plant two different species of crops, seeds together. Source, Vayikra 19:19, punishment flogging. 246, don't eat the fruit of a tree within the first 3 years after its planting, equals Orla. Source, Vayikra 19:23, punishment, flogging, and 8 forbidden fruit. 247, do eat the fruit of a tree in the 4th year after its planting. Source, Vayikra 19:23 through 24, punishment, positive precept, no blessing, reward, blessing. 248, don't overeat or overdrink. Source, Vayikra 19:26, punishment, unsure, rebel son equals death by stoning, flogging. 249, don't practice augury, heed omens. Source, Vayikra 19:26, Dvarim 18:10, punishment, flogging, through based in of 3 judges. 250, don't practice conjuring. Source, Vayikra 19:26, punishment, flogging. 251, don't round off the corners of your head. Source, Vayikra 19:27, punishment, flogging, and etc. 252, don't shave off the edges of your beard. Source, Vayikra 19:27, punishment, flogging, unsure. 253, don't tattoo yourself. Source, Vayikra 19:28, punishment, flogging. 254, do have reverent awe, fear for the sanctuary. Source, Vayikra 19:30, punishment, positive precept. 255, don't act as an ov, medium. Source, Vayikra 19:31, punishment, death by stoning, kores. 256, don't act as a yidoni, wizard. Source, Vayikra 19:31, punishment, death by stoning, kores, unsure. 257, do honor and rise for wise Torah scholars. Source, Vayikra 19:32, punishment, positive, great. 258, don't cheat with any kind of measure. Vayikra 19:35, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, pay. 259, do make scales, weights, and measures accurate. Source, Vayikra 19:36, punishment, positive, very severe. 260, don't curse your father or your mother. Source, Vayikra 29, punishment, death by stoning, flogging. 261, Beit Din, do execute by burning with fire. Source, Vayikra 20:14, punishment, positive, great. 262, don't follow the ways of the Amorites and heathens. Source, Vayikra 20:23, punishment, flogging, reward for focusing on God and the 613. Good fortune, progeny will inherit the land. 263, Kohanim, don't make yourself ritually unclean except at the death of certain relatives. Source, Vayikra 21:1, punishment, flogging. 264, Kohanim, do become defiled by the deceased relatives mentioned in the Torah. Source, Vayikra 21:3, punishment, positive precept, Beis Din should coerce. 265, Kohen defiled for a day, don't serve in the sanctuary until sunset. Source, Vayikra 11:32-21:6, punishment, death by heaven's hands, unsure. 266, Kohanim, don't marry a wanton woman. Source, Vayikra 21:7, punishment, flogging. 267, Kohanim, don't marry a profane woman. Source, Vayikra 21:7, punishment, flogging. 268, Kohanim, don't marry a divorced woman. Source, Vayikra 21:7, punishment, flogging. 269, do sanctify and honor the descendants of Aaron, the Kohanim. Source, Vayikra 21:8, punishment, positive precept. 270, Kohen Gadol, don't enter the tent of a dead man. Source, Vayikra 21:11, punishment, flogging. 271, Kohen Gadol, don't defile yourself over any dead body. Source, Vayikra 21:11, punishment, flogging. 272, Kohen Gadol, do marry a virgin maiden. Source, Vayikra 21:13, punishment, positive precept, divorce her. 273, Kohen Gadol, don't marry a widow. Source, Vayikra 21:14, punishment, flogging, and etc. 274, Kohen Gadol, don't be intimate with a widow even without marriage. Source, Vayikra 21:15, punishment, flogging. 275, Kohen with a blemishing defect, don't serve in the sanctuary. Source, Vayikra 21:17, punishment, flogging. His service is disqualified. 276, Kohen with a temporary blemish, don't serve in the sanctuary. Source, Vayikra 21:21. Punishment, flogging. 277. Kohen with a blemishing defect, don't enter the holy temple. Source, Vayikra 21:23. Punishment, unsure. 278. Ritually unclean Kohen don't serve in the holy temple. Source, Vayikra 22:2. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 279. Ritually unclean Kohen don't eat truma. Source, Vayikra 22:4. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 280. Non-Kohanim don't eat truma. Source, Vayikra 22:10. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 281. Permanent or temporary slave of a Kohen don't eat truma. Source, Vayikra 22:10. Punishment, unsure. 282. Uncircumcised person don't eat truma. Source, Vayikra 22:4 and 10. Unsure, Gezerah Shava. Punishment, flogging. 283. Profaned woman don't eat holy food. Source, Vayikra 22:12. Punishment, flogging. 284. Israelite and Kohen don't eat tevel. Source, Vayikra 22:15. Punishment, death by heaven's hands. 285. Don't consecrate blemished animals for offerings. Source, Vayikra 22:20. Punishment, negative precept, flogging, unsure. 286. Do make every offering that we bring whole, perfect, and without blemish or disfigurement. Source, Vayikra 22:21. Punishment, positive precept and negative precept, flogging with 4 sets, unsure. 287. Don't make a blemish in holy offerings. Source, Vayikra 22:21. Punishment, negative precept, flogging, but not now. 288. Don't sprinkle the blood of defective animals on the altar. Source, Vayikra 22:22. Punishment, unsure. 289. Don't ritually slay blemished animals for offerings. Source, Vayikra 22:22. Punishment, unsure. 290. Don't burn the portions for the altar from defective animals. Source, Vayikra 22:22. Punishment, unsure. 291. Don't emasculate, make impotent any creature, man, beast, or fowl. Source, Vayikra 22:24. Punishment, flogging. 292. Don't offer a defective animal received from a heathen. Source, Vayikra 22:25. Punishment, flogging. 293. Do make an animal offering be at least 8 days old. Source, Vayikra 22:27. Punishment, positive precept, no flogging. 294. Don't ritually slay both an animal and its young in one day. Source, Vayikra 22:28. Punishment, flogging. 295. Don't desecrate the divine name. Source, Vayikra 22:32. Punishment, negative precept, extremely great and serious. No repent, Yom Kippur, or suffering. Only death. 296. Do sanctify the divine name. Source, Vayikra 22:32. Punishment, positive precept. 297. Do rest from work on the first day of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:7. Punishment, positive precept. 298. Don't work on the first day of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:7. Punishment, negative precept, flogging. 299. Do bring a musaf offering on each of the 7 days of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:8. Punishment, positive precept. 300. Do rest from work on the 7th day of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:8. Punishment, unsure. 301. Don't work on the 7th day of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:8. Punishment, unsure. 302. Do offer the omer of barley on the 2nd day of Pesach. Source, Vayikra 23:10-11. Punishment, unsure. 303. Don't eat bread of new grains before the end of the 16th day of Nisan. Source, Vayikra 23:14. Punishment, flogging. 304. Don't eat parched grain from the new crop until the end of the 16th of Nisan. Source, Vayikra 23:14. Punishment, flogging. 305. Don't eat fresh grain, carmel, from the new crop until the end of the 16th of Nisan. Source, Vayikra 23:14. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 306. Do count the omer for 49 days. Source, Vayikra 23:15. Punishment, positive precept. 307. Do offer the meal offering of new wheat on Shavuot. Source, Vayikra 23:16. Punishment, unsure. 308. Do rest from work on Shavuot. Source, Vayikra 23:21, punishment unsure. 309, don't work on Shavuot, the 6th day of Sivan. Source, Vayikra 23:15-16, punishment unsure. 310, do rest from work on Rosh Hashanah. Source, Vayikra 23:24, punishment positive precept unsure. 311, don't work on Rosh Hashanah. Source, Vayikra 23:24-25, punishment flogging. 312, do sacrifice the Musaf offering on the day of Rosh Hashanah. Source, Vayikra 23:24-25, punishment positive precept unsure. 313, do fast on the 10th day of Tishrei, the Day of Atonement. Source, Vayikra 23:27, punishment positive and negative precepts. Kores, unsure. 314, do sacrifice the Musaf offering on the Day of Atonement. Source, Vayikra 23:27, punishment unsure. 315, don't work on the Day of Atonement. Source, Vayikra 23:27, punishment unsure. 316, don't eat or drink on the Day of Atonement. Source, Vayikra 23:29, punishment Kores unsure. 317, do rest from work on the Day of Atonement. Source, Vayikra 23:32, punishment positive and negative precepts unsure. 318, do rest from work on the first day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:35, punishment positive and negative precepts unsure. 319, don't work on the first day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:34-35, punishment negative precept flogging unsure. 320, do sacrifice the Musaf offering on each day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:36, punishment unsure. 321, do rest from work on the 8th day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:36, punishment positive and negative precepts unsure. 322, do sacrifice the Musaf offering on the 8th day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:36, punishment unsure. 323, don't work on the 8th day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:36, punishment unsure. 324, do take up the lulav on the first day of Sukkot. Source, Vayikra 23:40, punishment positive precept. 325, do dwell in a sukkah booth for 7 days. Source, Vayikra 23:42, punishment positive precept, based din coerces. 326, don't work the soil in the 7th year, Shemitah. Source, Vayikra 25:4, punishment flogging. 327, don't work on trees in the 7th year, Shemitah. Source, Vayikra 25:4, punishment flogging unsure. 328, don't harvest what grows wild in the 7th year, Shemitah. Source, Vayikra 25:5, punishment flogging. 329, don't gather the fruit of trees in the normal manner in the 7th year, Shemitah. Source, Vayikra 25:5, punishment unsure. 330, do count the years 7 by 7 until the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:8, punishment unsure. 331, do sound the shofar on the Day of Atonement in the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:9-10, punishment positive precept. 332, do sanctify the 50th year, the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:10, punishment positive and negative precepts, very great, denies creation. 333, don't farm the land in the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:11, punishment unsure. 334, don't harvest wild growing produce in the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:5-11, unsure, punishment unsure. 335, don't gather the fruit of trees in the normal manner in the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:11, punishment unsure. 336, do render judgment between a buyer and a seller. Source, Vayikra 25:14, unsure, punishment positive precept. 337, don't wrong anyone in buying and selling. Source, Vayikra 25:14, punishment negative precept but no flogging. 338, don't oppress a Jew with words. Source, Vayikra 25:17, punishment negative precept but no flogging. Beware of our Creator's power. 339, don't sell a field permanently in the land of Israel. Source, Vayikra 25:23, punishment flogging. 340, do return land to its original owner at the Jubilee year. Source, Vayikra 25:24, punishment positive, very great, denies creation. 341, do redeem heritage land in a walled city within a year. Source, Vayikra 25:29, punishment unsure. 342, don't alter the open land around the Levites' cities or their fields. Source, Vayikra 25:34, punishment flogging. 343, don't lend at interest to an Israelite. Source, Vayikra 25:37, punishment, negative precept, coerced. 344, don't make a Hebrew manservant do contemptible work like a heathen slave. Source, Vayikra 25:39, punishment, negative precept but no flogging, unsure. 345, don't sell a Hebrew manservant at the slave's selling block. Source, Vayikra 25:42, punishment, negative precept but no flogging, unsure. 346, don't work a Hebrew manservant at hard labor. Source, Vayikra 25:43, punishment, negative precept but no flogging, unsure. 347, do keep a heathen slave permanently. Source, Vayikra 25:46, punishment, positive precept. 348, don't let a heathen put a Hebrew manservant to harsh work. Source, Vayikra 25:53, punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 349, don't prostrate yourself on a figured stone. Source, Vayikra 26:1, punishment, flogging. 350, one who vows a person's valuation, do give the prescribed amount. Source, Vayikra 27:2, punishment, positive, very great. 351, don't exchange animals consecrated for holy offerings. Source, Vayikra 27:10, punishment, flogging. 352, do make both animals consecrated if one exchanges an animal consecrated for an offering. Source, Vayikra 27:10, punishment, positive precept, breach of holiness. 353, one who vows an animal's valuation, do give as the Kohen values it. Source, Vayikra 27:11 through 12, punishment, rectify. 354, one who vows the valuation of a house, do give the Kohen's valuation plus a fifth. Source, Vayikra 27:14, punishment, positive precept, penalty for breach of holiness. 355, one who vows a field's valuation, do give the value set by the Torah. Source, Vayikra 27:16, punishment, use amendment. Use amendment. Use amendment. Unsure. 356, don't change consecrated animals from one kind of an offering to another. Source, Vayikra 27:26, punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 357, one who vows a cherem on property, do give it to the Kohanim. Source, Vayikra 27:28, punishment, positive precept, very great for breach of holiness. 358, don't sell land put under cherem, but do give it to the Kohanim. Source, Vayikra 27:28, unsure, punishment, unsure. 359, don't redeem land that is under a vow of cherem. Source, Vayikra 27:28, punishment, negative precept, unsure. 360, do tithe permissible domestic animals every year. Source, Vayikra 27:32, punishment, valid, unsure. 361, don't sell the tithe of animals, do eat it in Jerusalem. Source, Vayikra 27:33, punishment, kores, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. From the book of Bamidbar, 362, do send the ritually unclean outside of the camp of the Shekhinah. Source, Bamidbar 5:2, punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 363, ritually defiled person, don't enter anywhere in the sanctuary. Source, Bamidbar 5:3, punishment, kores. 364, do confess your sins. Source, Bamidbar 5:6 through 7, punishment, positive precept, woe. 365, do bring an aberrant straying wife to the Kohen, equals sota. Source, Bamidbar 5:12 and 15, punishment, positive precept. 366, don't put oil in the meal offering of a sota. Source, Bamidbar 5:15, punishment, negative precept, flogging. 367, don't put frankincense in the meal offering of a sota. Source, Bamidbar 5:15, punishment, negative precept, flogging, unsure. 368, Nazir, don't drink wine. Source, Bamidbar 6:3, punishment, flogging, unsure. 369, Nazir, don't eat fresh grapes. Source, Bamidbar 6:3, punishment, flogging, unsure. 370, Nazir, don't eat dried grapes. Source, Bamidbar 6:3, punishment, flogging. 371, Nazir, don't eat grape seeds. Source, Bamidbar 6:4, punishment, flogging. 372, Nazir, don't eat grape skins. Source, Bamidbar 6:4, punishment, flogging. 373, Nazir, don't shave your hair. Source, Bamidbar 6:5, punishment, flogging. 374, Nazir, do let your hair grow long. Source, Bamidbar 6:5, punishment, positive precept, coerce. 375, Nazir, don't enter a dead man's tent. Source, Bamidbar 6:6, punishment, flogging. 376, Nazir, don't become defiled by a dead person or any uncleanness. Source, Bamidbar 6:7, punishment, flogging, 4 sets, and etc., unsure. 377, Nazir, do shave your hair and bring offerings. Source, Bamidbar 6:13, punishment, positive precept, obligation not fulfilled, unsure. 378, Kohanim, do bless the Israelites every day. Source, Bamidbar 6:23, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 379, Kohanim, do carry the holy ark. Source, Bamidbar 7:9, punishment, positive precept, unsure. Reward, blessing, unsure. 380, those who were unable do bring the second Pesach offering on the 14th of Iyar. Source, Bamidbar 9:11, punishment, positive precept, kores. One of 2 positive precepts that get kores equals obligation number 5 and number 2, unsure. 381, do eat the meat of the second Pesach offering with matzah and bitter herbs. Source, Bamidbar 9:11, punishment, positive precept. 382, don't leave over anything from the second Pesach offering until the next day. Source, Bamidbar 9:12, punishment, negative precept. See obligation number 8. 383, don't break any of the bones of the second Pesach offering. Source, Bamidbar 9:12, punishment, negative precept. 384, do sound the trumpets in the sanctuary every day and in times of trouble. Source, Bamidbar 10:9, punishment, positive precept. 385, do separate challah from every batch of dough and give it to the Kohen. Source, Bamidbar 15:20, punishment, unsure. 386, do insert tzitzit, tassels, on a 4-cornered garment. Source, Bamidbar 15:38, punishment, positive precept. 387, don't go astray, don't follow after your heart and after your eyes. Source, Bamidbar 15:39, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 388, Kohanim and Levites, do guard the sanctuary every night. Source, Bamidbar 18:4, punishment, positive and negative precepts. 389, Kohanim and Levites, don't do the work of the other. Source, unsure, Bamidbar 18:3, 419, punishment, Levites, death by heaven's hands. Kohanim, unsure. 390, non-Kohanim, don't work at the sanctuary. Source, Bamidbar 18:4, punishment, negative precept, death by heaven's hands. 391, don't stop the guarding of the sanctuary. Source, Bamidbar 18:5, punishment, unsure. 392, do redeem a human firstborn. Source, Bamidbar 18:15, punishment, positive precept, woe. 393, don't redeem the firstling of a pure kosher domestic animal. Source, Bamidbar 18:17, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 394, Levites do serve at the sanctuary. Source, Bamidbar 18:23, punishment, positive precept, very great. 395, Israelites do give the first tithe to the Levites. Source, Bamidbar 18:24, punishment, no flogging. Punishment for disobedience, unsure. 396, Levites do separate a tithe from the tithe and give it to the Kohanim. Source, Bamidbar 18:26, punishment, unsure. 397, do burn the red heifer. Source, Bamidbar 19:2, punishment, unsure. 398, do follow the Torah in dealing with ritual uncleanness of the dead. Source, Bamidbar 19:14, punishment, unsure. 399, Do follow the Torah in dealing with the laws of Mei Nida, the lustral water. Source, Bamidbar 19:19, punishment, positive precept. 400. Do follow the laws of inheritance. Source, Bamidbar 27:8-9, punishment, positive precept. 401. Israelites, do offer the Ola offering every day. Source, Bamidbar 28:2-3, punishment, positive precept, and inadvertent sin accredited. 402. Israelites, do offer the Musaf offering every Shabbos. Source, Bamidbar 28:9, punishment, unsure. 403. Do offer the Musaf offering every new month. Source, Bamidbar 28:11, punishment, unsure. 404. Israelites, do offer a Musaf offering on Shavuot. Source, Bamidbar 28:26, punishment, unsure. 405. Do hear the sound of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Source, Bamidbar 29:1, punishment, positive precept. 406. Do fulfill the laws of nullifying vows. Source, Bamidbar 33, punishment, positive precept. 407. Don't break your word and vows made. Source, Bamidbar 33, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 408. Israelites, do give cities to the Levites in which to dwell. Source, Bamidbar 35:2, punishment, positive precept. 409. Don't execute a guilty person who deserves death before he stands trial. Source, Bamidbar 35:12, punishment, death. 410. Based in, do make an unintentional killer go to a city of refuge. Source, Bamidbar 35:25, punishment, positive precept, very great. 411. Witness in a capital crime, don't speak out. Source, Bamidbar 35:30, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 412. Don't take a ransom to save a killer from his death sentence. Source, Bamidbar 35:31, punishment, negative precept, very great. 413. Don't take a ransom from one who is exiled to a city of refuge to free him from his exile. Source, Bamidbar 35:32, punishment, negative precept, very great, unsure. From the book of Dvarim, 414, great based in, Exelarch, don't appoint a judge who is not learned in the Torah. Source, Dvarim 1:17, punishment, negative precept, very great. 415, judge, don't fear any evil man. Dvarim 1:17, punishment, negative precept. 416, don't desire what belongs to another Jew. Source, Devarim 5:18, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, very great. 417, do know that God is one. Source, Devarim 6:4, punishment, positive precept, equals all 613. He is a denier and an heretic. Reward made safe on high. 418, do love God. Source, Devarim 6:5, positive precept, very great. 419, do study and teach the Torah. Source, Devarim 6:7, punishment, positive precept, very great. 420, do recite the Shema every morning and every evening. Source, Devarim 6:4, punishment, positive precept. 421, do bind tefillin on your hand. Source, Devarim 6:8, punishment, positive precept, disobeys 8 positive precepts, dues. 422, do put tefillin on your head. Source, Devarim 6:8, punishment, positive precept. 423, do fasten a mezuzah on your doorpost. Source, Devarim 6:9, punishment, positive precept, adjured to affix. 424, don't test a true prophet to an undue degree. Source, Devarim 6, unsure 7:16, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 425, do put to death the 7 nations. Source, Devarim 7:2, punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 426, don't show mercy to idol worshippers. Source, Devarim 7:2, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, very great. 427, don't intermarry with the nations. Source, Devarim 7:3, punishment, flogging, death, unsure. 428, don't derive any benefit from the ornamentation of an idol. Source, Devarim 7:25, punishment, flogging. 429, don't take any object from idolatry into our possession to derive benefit from it. Source, Devarim 7:26, punishment, flogging with 2 sets. 430, Do bless God for the food that we receive equals grace after meals. Source, Devarim 8:10. Punishment, positive precept. 431. Do love converts to Judaism. Source, Devarim 10:19. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 432. Do fear God. Source, Devarim 10:20. Punishment, positive precept. 433. Do serve God with your heart equals prayer. Source, Devarim 10:20. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 434. Do associate with Torah scholars. Source, Devarim 10:20. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 435. Do swear by God's name when need be. Source, Devarim 10:20. Punishment, positive precept. 436. Do destroy idols. Source, Devarim 12:2. Punishment, positive precept. 437. Don't destroy entities to which God is linked. Source, Devarim 12:4. Punishment, flogging. 438. Do bring all obligatory or voluntary offerings at the first pilgrimage festival. Source, Devarim 12:5-6. Punishment, unsure, no ability to bring today. 439. Don't sacrifice holy offerings outside the sanctuary. Source, Devarim 12:13. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 440. Do present every offering at the sanctuary and not outside it. Source, Devarim 12:14. Punishment, positive precept. 441. Do redeem animals consecrated for offerings which become blemished. Source, Devarim 12:15. Punishment, positive precept, not in effect today, unsure. 442. Don't eat the second tithe of grain outside Jerusalem. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging. 443. Don't consume the second tithe of wine outside Jerusalem. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 444. Don't consume the second tithe of oil outside Jerusalem. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 445. Kohen. Don't eat an unblemished firstborn animal outside Jerusalem. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging. 446. Don't eat a chatos sin offering or an asham guilt offering outside the holy temple. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging. 447. Don't eat the flesh of an olah burnt offering. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging, death by heaven's hands, unsure. 448. Don't eat anything of offerings of lesser holiness before their blood is sprinkled on the altar. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, flogging. 449. Kohanim, don't eat bikurim, first fruits, before they are set down in the azara, the sanctuary grounds. Source, Devarim 12:17. Punishment, Kohen, negative precept, flogging. Israelite, death by heaven's hands, unsure. 450. Don't neglect the Levites by failing to give them their ration. Source, Devarim 12:19. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 451. Do ritually slay domestic or wild animals or fowl according to the Torah equals shechita. Source, Devarim 12:21. Punishment, positive and negative precepts, flogging. 452. Don't eat a limb or part taken from a living animal. Source, Devarim 12:23. Punishment, flogging. 453. Do bring your offerings from another land to the sanctuary. Source, Devarim 12:26. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 454. Don't add to the Torah. Source, Devarim 13:1. Punishment, negative precept, flogging. 455. Don't delete from the Torah. Source, Devarim 13:1. Punishment, negative precept, flogging, unsure. 456. Don't pay heed to anyone prophesying in the name of an idol or idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:4. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 457. Don't have any affection for an enticer to idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. Unsure. 458. Don't relinquish hatred for an enticer to idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. Unsure. 459. Don't rescue from death an enticer to idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 460. One enticed to idolatry. Don't argue in favor of the innocence of the enticer to idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 461. One enticed to idolatry. Don't refrain from speaking out against the enticer to idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 462. Don't entice an Israelite toward idol worship. Source, Devarim 13:12. Punishment, death by stoning. 463. Do examine witnesses thoroughly. Source, Devarim 13:15. Punishment, positive precept, very great, wicked. Reward, merit equals very great, partner with God. 464. Do burn a city gone astray into idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:17. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 465. Don't rebuild a city gone astray into idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:17. Punishment, positive precept, very great, unsure. 466. Don't derive any benefit from the wealth of a city gone astray into idolatry. Source, Devarim 13:18. Punishment, as obligation 429 equals flogging with 2 sets, unsure. 467. Don't gash, cut yourself. Source, Devarim 14:1. Punishment, flogging. 468. Don't uproot your hair, don't cause baldness in grief over the dead. Source, Devarim 14:1. Punishment, flogging with 5 sets, unsure. 469. Don't eat holy animal offerings that became disqualified. Source, Devarim 14:3. Punishment, negative precept, flogging. 470. Do examine the signs of kashrus on fowl. Source, Devarim 14:11. Punishment, as obligation number 153 equals positive precept, unsure. 471. Don't eat any unclean non-kosher locusts or any winged insects. Source, Devarim 14:19. Punishment, flogging. 472. Don't eat the flesh of a domestic or wild animal or a fowl that died of itself. Source, Devarim 14:21. Punishment, flogging. 473. Do separate the second tithe from your produce. Source, Devarim 14:22. Punishment, see obligation number 507, not in effect. Positive precept, very great, unsure. 474. Do set apart the tithe for the poor. Source, Devarim 14:28. Punishment, see obligation number 507, not in effect, unsure. Positive precept, very great, unsure. 475. Don't demand payment for a loan over which the Shemitah year has passed. Source, Devarim 15:2. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 476. Do demand payment of a loan from a non-Jewish heathen idol worshiper. Source, Devarim 15:3. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 477. Do relinquish money owed in the Shemitah year. Source, Devarim 15:3. Punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 478. Don't refrain from sustaining a poor man. Source, Devarim 15:7. Source, Devarim 15:7. Punishment, see obligation number 66, unsure, equals positive precept. Abhorred. Reward, blessed. 479. Do give charity. Source, Devarim 15:8. Punishment, positive precept. 480. Don't avoid lending money to the poor because of the Shemitah. Source, Devarim 15:9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 481. Don't send away a Hebrew manservant empty-handed when he is freed. Source, Devarim 15:13. Punishment, see obligation number 482, unsure. 482. Do give a bonus to a Hebrew manservant when he is freed. Source, Devarim 15:14. Punishment, see obligation number 42, equals positive precept, unsure. 483. Don't do any work with animals consecrated for offerings. Source, Devarim 15:19. Punishment, flogging. 484. Don't shear animals consecrated for offerings. Source, Devarim 15:19. Punishment, see obligation number 483, equals flogging, unsure. 485. Don't eat chometz after noon on the day before Pesach. Source, Devarim 16:3. Punishment, flogging. 486. Don't leave over any flesh from the festival offering, Chagiga of the 14th of Nisan, Pesach, until the third day. Source, Devarim 16:4. Punishment, negative precept, burn it and no flogging. Positive precept for rectification. 487. Don't offer the Pesach offering on an individual's provisional altar. Source, Devarim 16:5. Punishment, negative precept, flogging. 488. Do rejoice on the pilgrimage festivals. Source, Devarim 16:14. Punishment, positive precept. 489. Every male, men, do appear at the sanctuary on the pilgrimage festivals. Source, Devarim 16:16. Punishment, see obligation number 88, equals positive and negative precepts, unsure. 490. Men, don't go up to Jerusalem for a pilgrimage festival without bringing an animal offering. Source, Devarim 16:16. Punishment, see obligation number 489, equals positive and negative precepts, unsure. 491. Do appoint judges and officers in every single Jewish community. Source, Devarim 16:18. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 492. Don't plant trees in the sanctuary. Source, Devarim 16:21. Punishment, flogging. 493. Don't erect an idolatrous pillar. Source, Devarim 16:22. Punishment, flogging. 494. Don't present an animal with a temporary blemish as an offering. Source, Devarim 17:1. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 495. Do obey the great Beis Din, the Sanhedrin, in every period. Source, Devarim 17:10. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 496. Don't disobey the great Beis Din, the Sanhedrin. Source, Devarim 17:11. Punishment, negative and positive precepts, but no flogging, because of death warning, unsure. 497. Do appoint a king over us. Source, Devarim 17:15. Punishment, unsure. 498. Don't appoint a non-Israelite as king. Source, Devarim 17:15. Punishment, evil fortune, violence of that wicked man. Reward, good, life spirit in goodness, unsure. 499. King, don't acquire an unduly great number of horses for yourself. Source, Devarim 17:16. Punishment, flogging. 500. Don't dwell in the land of Egypt. Source, Devarim 17:16. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 501. King, don't take for yourself an unduly large number of wives. Source, Devarim 17:17. Punishment, flogging. Divorce extra wife. 502. King, don't amass gold and silver inordinately more than what you need. Source, Devarim 17:17. Punishment, negative precept, very great. 503. King, do write for yourself one Torah scroll more than other Israelites. Source, Devarim 17:18. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 504. Levites, don't take any share of the land of Israel. Source, Devarim 18:1. Punishment, unsure. 505. Levites, don't take any share of the booty in conquest of the land. Source, Devarim 18:1. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 506. Do give the foreleg, two cheeks, and maw, stomach of an offering, to the Kohen. Source, Devarim 18:3. Punishment, positive precept. 507. Do separate the great truma and give it to the Kohen. Source, Devarim 18:4. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 508. Do give the first of the fleece to the Kohen. Source, Devarim 18:4. Punishment, positive precept. 509. Kohanim, do serve at the sanctuary in watches and all together at the festivals. Source, Devarim 18:6-8. Punishment, positive precept. 510. Don't practice divination. Source, Devarim 18:10. Punishment, flogging, and etc. 511. Don't practice sorcery. Source, Devarim 18:10. Punishment, death by stoning. 512. Don't make incantations. Don't employ charms. Source, Devarim 18:10-11. Punishment, flogging. 513. Don't consult an oath, a kind of medium, necromancer. Source, Devarim 18:10-11. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 514. Don't consult a Yidoni, a kind of wizard. Source, Devarim 18:10 through 11, unsure. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 5:15, don't make an inquiry of the dead. Source, Devarim 18:10 through 11, punishment, flogging. 5:16, do heed a true prophet in every generation, provided he changes nothing in the Torah permanently. Source, Devarim 18:15, punishment, positive precept, unsure, death by heaven's hands. 5:17, don't prophesy falsely. Source, Devarim 18:20, punishment, death by strangulation. 5:18, don't prophesy in the name of an idol. Source, Devarim 18:20, punishment, death by strangulation, unsure. 5:19, don't refrain from putting a false prophet to death out of fear of him. Source, Devarim 18:22, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, unsure. 5:20, do set apart 6 cities of refuge among the cities of the Levites. 5:21, don't have mercy, pity, in corporeal judgment on a person who killed or maimed another person. Source, Devarim 19, unsure 13:21. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging, very great. 5:22, don't overreach a boundary. Source, Devarim 19:14, punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 5:23, don't pass judgment on the word of one witness. Source, Devarim 19:15, punishment, negative precept. 5:24, do to scheming, plotting witnesses what they intended to do to their victim. Source, Devarim 19:19, unsure 25:1, punishment, positive precept. 5:25, men don't quail, yield in fear before an enemy in battle. Source, Devarim 7:21, 20, 30, 3:22, punishment, negative precept, very great. 5:26, do appoint a Kohen for war. Source, Devarim 25 through 7, punishment, positive precept. 5:27, do act in a war of choice according to the Torah. Source, Devarim 20:10 to the end of the scriptural section, punishment, positive precept. 5:28, don't let any one of the 7 nations live. Source, Devarim 20:16, punishment, unsure. 5:29, don't destroy fruit trees when setting siege to a city, or any needless destruction. Source, Devarim 20:19, punishment, negative precept, flogging. 5:30, do behead the heifer in a strongly coursing riverbed. Source, Devarim 21:1, punishment, unsure. 5:31, don't plow or sow in the coursing riverbed where the heifer was beheaded. Source, Devarim 21:4, punishment, flogging, and etc. 5:32, do treat a beautiful woman who was captured in war according to the Torah. Source, Devarim 21:11, punishment, positive precept. 5:33, don't sell a beautiful woman who was captured in war. Source, Devarim 21:14, punishment, unsure. 5:34, don't make a beautiful woman who was captured in war work as a slave after conjugal intimacy with her. Source, Devarim 21:14, punishment, unsure. 5:35, do hang a person after his execution when required. Source, Devarim 21:22, punishment, positive precept, unsure. 5:36, don't leave a hanged person on the gallows overnight. Source, Devarim 21:23, punishment, negative precept. 5:37, do bury one who was hung on that same day and every deceased person. Source, Devarim 21:23, punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 5:38, do return a lost object to its owner. Source, Devarim 22:1, punishment, positive and negative precepts. 5:39, don't turn a blind eye to a lost object. Source, Devarim 22:3, punishment, unsure. 5:40, don't leave the beast of your fellow man lying under its burden. Source, Devarim 23:4, unsure. Punishment, negative and positive precepts, unsure. 5:41, do lift up a load for an Israelite. Source, Devarim 23:4, unsure. Punishment, positive precept, unsure. 5:42, women don't wear men's clothing. Source, Devarim 22:5, unsure. Punishment, flogging. 5:43, men don't wear women's clothing. Source, Devarim 22:5, unsure. Punishment, flogging. 544. Don't take the mother bird with its young in a nest. Source, Devarim 22:6. Punishment, negative and positive precepts. Flogging, unsure. 545. Do send the mother bird away from the nest before one takes the young. Source, Devarim 22:7. Punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 546. Do remove obstacles and sources of harm from all our habitations. Do build a parapet for your roof. Equals do guard your health. Source, Devarim 22:8. Punishment, positive and negative precepts, unsure. 547. Don't leave a stumbling block about. Don't keep a dangerous object on our lands and in our houses. Source, Devarim 22:8. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 548. Don't sow mixed kinds of seeds in a vineyard in Israel. Source, Devarim 22:9. Punishment, flogging. 549. Don't eat the produce of mixed seeds in a vineyard in Israel. Source, Devarim 22:9. Punishment, flogging. 550. Don't do work with two kinds of animal together. Source, Devarim 22:10. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 551. Don't wear a garment made of wool and linen combined. Source, Devarim 22:11. Punishment, flogging. 552. Do marry a woman according to the Torah. Source, Devarim 22:13. Punishment, positive precept. 553. One who spreads an evil report about his wife, do keep her permanently. Source, Devarim 22:19. Punishment, flogging. She is stoned to death, unsure. 554. One who spreads an evil report about his wife, don't ever divorce her. Source, Devarim 22:19. Punishment, unsure. 555. Court, based in. Do stone to death anyone who deserves it. Source, Devarim 22:24. Punishment, positive precept. 556. Don't punish anyone who was compelled to commit a transgression. Source, Devarim 22:26. Punishment, bears guilt, but no flogging. 557. Rapist, do take your virgin maiden victim for a wife and give her father 50 shekels of silver. Source, Devarim 22:29. Punishment, duty to marry her, not a fine. 558. Rapist, don't ever divorce her. Source, Devarim 22:29. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 559. Emasculated man, don't take any Israelite woman for a wife. Source, Devarim 23:2. Punishment, flogging. 560. Bastard, don't marry any Jewish woman. Source, Devarim 23:3. Punishment, flogging. 561. Woman, don't marry Ammonite or Moabite men. Source, Devarim 23:4. Punishment, unsure. 562. Don't ever offer peace to Ammon or Moab. Source, Devarim 23:7. Punishment, unsure. 563. Don't refrain from marrying the progeny of Esau after they convert past 2 generations. Source, Devarim 23:8-9. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 564. Don't refrain from marrying an Egyptian after they convert up to the 3rd generation, not including the 3rd. Source, Devarim 23:8. Punishment, unsure. 565. Ritually unclean person, don't enter the camp of the Levites. Source, Devarim 23:11. Punishment, unsure. 566. During war, do prepare a place to relieve oneself. Source, Devarim 23:13. Punishment, positive precept, very great, since the Shekhinah would withdraw. 567. During war, do prepare a boring stick to dig the hole to fulfill obligation number 566. Source, Devarim 23:14. Punishment, unsure. 568. Don't return a slave who fled from his master to Israel. Source, Devarim 23:16. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 569. Don't oppress a slave who fled from his master to Israel. Source, Devarim 23:17. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 570. Don't be a harlot or with one. Source, Devarim 23:18. Punishment, flogging, very great, unsure. 571. Don't bring a harlot's wage or the exchange price of a dog as a holy offering. Source, Devarim 23:19. Punishment, flogging. Offering is disqualified and unacceptable. 572. Don't borrow at interest from an Israelite. Source, Devarim 23:20. Punishment, unsure. 573. Do lend to a heathen at interest. Source, Devarim 23:21. Punishment, positive precept. 574. Don't be late with vowed and voluntary offerings. Source, Devarim 23:22. Punishment, unsure. 575. Do fulfill all vows made. Source, Devarim 23:24. Punishment, positive and negative precepts. 576. Do allow a hired worker to eat from the produce over which he is working. Source, Devarim 23:25. Punishment, positive precept. 577. Hired worker, don't take out of the produce more than what you eat. Source, Devarim 23:25. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 578. Hired worker, don't eat from your employer's crops during the time of your actual work. Source, Devarim 23:26. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 579. One who wants to divorce his wife, do divorce your wife with a written document. A bill of divorce equals a get. Source, Devarim 24:1. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 580. Divorced man, don't take back your ex-wife after she has remarried. Source, Devarim 24:4. Punishment, negative precept, unsure. 581. Bridegroom, don't go out of your house to war an entire year. Source, Devarim 24:5. Punishment, unsure. 582. Bridegroom, do rejoice with your wife in your first year of marriage. Source, Devarim 24:5. Punishment, positive precept. 583. Don't take in pledge any objects used in preparing life-sustaining food. Source, Devarim 24:6. Punishment, flogging over every one of them. 584. Don't pluck out signs of a tzara'as infection. Source, Devarim 24:8. Punishment, flogging. 585. Don't take an object in pledge from a debtor by force. Source, Devarim 24:10. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 586. Don't withhold a pawned object from its owner when he needs it. Source, Devarim 24:12. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 587. Do return a pledged object to its owner when he needs it. Source, Devarim 24:13. Punishment, positive and negative precepts. 588. Do pay a hired worker on the day that he earned it. Source, Devarim 24:15. Punishment, positive and negative precepts. 589. A near relation in a court trial, don't give testimony. Source, Devarim 24:16. Punishment, negative precept, but no flogging. 590. Judge, don't pervert justice in regard to a proselyte or an orphan. Source, Devarim 24:17. Punishment, 2 negative precepts, unsure. 591. Don't take anything in pledge from a widow. Source, Devarim 24:17. Punishment, flogging. Return it, pay. 592. Do leave forgotten sheaves of grain. Source, Devarim 24:19. Punishment, positive precept. Shows spirit to be evil. 593. Don't take a forgotten sheaf of grain or forgotten fruit of trees. Source, Devarim 24:19. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 594. Base din, do flog, whip those who transgress. Source, Devarim 25:2. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 595. Don't add to the whiplashes due someone who transgressed. Don't strike any Jew. Source, Devarim 25:3. Punishment, flogging, unsure. 596. Don't muzzle, restrain a domestic animal from eating during its work. Source, Devarim 25:4. Punishment, flogging and pay, unsure. 597. Yavama. Don't marry anyone but the Yavam. Source, Devarim 25:5. Punishment, flogging. 598. One whose childless brother died, Do take your dead brother's wife as your wife. Source, Devarim 25:5. Punishment, positive precept. 599. Men, do follow the laws of chalitza to release a childless widow. Source, Devarim 25:9. Punishment, positive precept. 600. Do save a person who is being pursued by a killer. Source, Devarim 25:12. Punishment, positive and 2 negative precepts. Very great. 601. Don't have mercy on a pursuer who has intent to kill. Source, Devarim 25:12. Punishment, unsure. 602. Don't keep deficient scales and weights with us in our house, even if we will not use them in trading. Source, Devarim 25:13. Punishment, negative precept but no flogging. 603. Do remember what Amalek did to us Israelites when we came out of Egypt. Source, Devarim 25:17. Punishment, positive and negative precepts. 604. Do eradicate the progeny of Amalek. Source, Devarim 25:18. Punishment, positive precept. 605. Don't forget what Amalek did to our forefathers when they came out of Egypt. Source, Devarim 25:19. Punishment, unsure. 606. Do recite verses over the Bikurim, first fruits. Source, Devarim 26:5. Punishment, positive precept. 607. Do a vow over the tithes. Source, Devarim 26:13. Punishment, positive precept. 608. Don't eat of the second tithe while in grief over the death of a close relative. Source, Devarim 26:14. Punishment, flogging. 609. Don't eat of the second tithe when ritually unclean. Source, Devarim 26:14. Punishment, flogging. 610. Don't spend the exchange money of the second tithe on anything but food and drink. Source, Devarim 26:14. Punishment, negative precept, pay. 611. Do walk in God's ways. Source, Devarim 28:9. Punishment, positive precept. 612. Do assemble the entire people to hear the Torah read after the 7th year. Source, Devarim 31:12. Punishment, positive precept, very great. 613. Males, do write for yourself a Torah scroll. Source, Devarim 31:19. Punishment, positive precept, very great. Reward, be blessed. He and sons will grow wise. The 7 rabbinical obligations for all Jews. Source, from obligations 495 and 496. 495 equals punishment, positive precept, very great. 496 equals punishment, negative and positive precepts, but no flogging because of death warning. Number 1, do recite Hallel. Number 2, do read Megillos Esther aloud publicly. Number 3, do light candles on the 8 nights of Hanukkah. Number 4, do light at least 2 candles every Friday before sunset in honor of the Shabbos. Number 5, do wash hands before eating bread. Number 6, do recite a blessing before deriving pleasure from this world. Number 7, do set up an Eruv. This concludes the 613 obligations for all Jews.